Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is effectively part 4 of our monthly celebration of the 25th anniversary of Power Rangers.
Oh, sorry. It's Joker.
Okay, why not? I don't think Power Rangers stand a chance against him. Anyway, we are here to follow up on yesterday's video, in which we did the worst of the Post Zordon era, and so today we're doing the best of the Post Zordon era. For those who didn't see the last video or don't know, that would be Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, and Wild Force. All right. So, with me is Chris the Mole, by the way.
Hello. And remember, people, award-winning Chriz, aka the Mole.
He is. 2-time. All right. So the first award for today is going to be the best 6th Ranger suit.
Yep.
And you can go first on these since I'm hosting again.
I went with the Lunar Wolf Wild Force Ranger. Because I didn't like the sash and stuff, but it works for an extra Ranger. And Merrick's costume just looked cool. He was a great Ranger. And yeah, it just looked cool. Compared to all the other extra Rangers we had, that one looked the coolest. I mean, I didn't hate the others besides Eric. But yeah, so Luna.
That's fair enough. I gave it to the Titanium Ranger, only because I like this costume because, number one, a completely American-made Ranger, so props that they were able to create a costume that fleshed in with the existing stuff that they got from Japan. But also, it was simplistic, but it worked. A simple V-shaped visor and a little T-shaped gold thing on a grayish silver costume. It was simple, but it looked really cool, and it worked.
Yep.
All right. Next up, the best Ranger suit overall, or the suits of the main Rangers.
I liked the Time Force costumes.
Okay.
They were simple, they were practical, and they just looked good. Like when you look at them, they're the types of suits I think of when I think of Power Rangers. Like I don't think of some of the other ones. I think you said not the Lost Galaxy ones last time. They were the ones where like half the chest was white as well. I don't like that.
Yeah, like the chest was white and the sleeves were colored. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like when I look at the season in Japan that the White Ranger was from.
Die Ranger, yeah.
Those suits, I don't like them. They look horrible to me. They don't look like Ranger suits.
But
that's just personal preference.
Yeah, which is entirely fair. I give it to Lightspeed only because I like the cool design pattern that kind of interchanged the color with the white. And I like that it kind of just it balanced. There was white there, but the white was balanced in a unique way, and I thought that was cool because you really haven't seen that on any other suits since then, and even before then. So I thought it was just a really cool, nice balance, and the fact that they did use that during the morphing sequence when it kind of just came over them and it kind of worked out, I thought it was just cool. And because it was interchanged like that too, it kind of reminded you of like some emergency logos and stuff. So I thought it worked.
Nice.
All right. Next up, the best theme song.
I went Wild Force.
Okay.
Because I love that. Wild Force, Power Rangers. That's just a great song. Ironically, it's a song that writes a check the series can't cash, but it's a great song.
Yeah. And there you go. All right. I just gave it to Lost Galaxy only because for some reason that one was the catchiest to me, and it was the one that just kind of hooked, Far, far away, deep in space, to a galaxy their own. And just for some reason, that one always just more than the other three of this group. That one always just gets me going. I don't know why, but I just like that song.
And also, I'm sorry because I know that was my worst.
That's fair. No, that's fine. It's personal preference.
It is.
All right. Best morphing sequence.
Just like this is, which was your worst. Lost Galaxy.
Ah.
But a specific one.
Okay.
I loved the first one where they pulled the swords out, King Arthur style, raise them up and just transform. Like the swords are morphers, so it's better than the fucking movie that came out that didn't have a fucking morpher. But it's just cool where they've finally been chosen, and you get this cool boom, and you're like, oh my god, it's so dramatic. I love it.
That is badass. I will give you that.
Yes, I just love that first one.
Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, by the way, the Red Ranger, not really him. He's dead now. Here's another Red Ranger. Anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, Lost Galaxy went through Rangers a lot.
True.
They killed a lot of Rangers.
They did. They kind of did.
Well, 2.
Well, yeah. They got better.
Mm-hmm. Except for the original Red one, we never saw him show up at the end. Kendrick gets to show up. He didn't. They're just like, it's cool. It's cool. No one cares about him.
You do realize he's only became the Magnet Defender, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't get to see him come back as dramatically as her.
True.
He just sort of shows up and then becomes a Magnum Defender, like you said. It's not like her where she's like,
well, the Magnet Defender used his body to save himself, and then he parted and let him have his powers. So, I mean, there was a dramatic moment. It just wasn't in the finale.
Yeah, but I meant like hers. You saw her as a ghost. You saw her come back, and they're like, oh my god, you're alive again. Oh, him when he came back. They're just like, they're sort of like, oh, it's you.
True.
As much compared to her. And I'm like,
that's true.
Okay.
You're right. You're right.
Even Alex got more of a holy shit, you're alive.
That's true. But to be fair, with the Kendricks and Alex, we saw them both. We saw their corpses. All we saw Mike do was fall down a hole. We didn't see him hit the bottom.
Yeah, but Disney people always assume that kills the villain.
That's true. Anyway, my more recent wins, I give it to Wild Force purely because it's unique. I like that cool thing where it's the phone, and then the phone is the animal, and then the animal flips over to a dude, and then it becomes the Ranger. I just thought that was kind of unique and cool, and it was different, and I thought that's what that gave it an advantage, just because it is such a cool thing, and it is neat.
Yep.
I just liked it for uniqueness. All right, mode of transportation that is not a Zord. Best.
The rescue rover from Lightspeed. It's simple. It's a Jeep. It's a cool looking little Jeep. I like that Jeep.
I also gave it to the Jeep. I thought that was really cool. And it worked. And they actually used it. It wasn't like things like, for example, Cole had a red Jeep in like or someone who had a red Jeep. Oh, like Tyler had a red Jeep in Dino Charge, and he used it for like the first 5 episodes and then never again.
To be fair, in Dino Thunder, Tommy has a Jeep.
That's true. We don't see that often either.
However, I'm okay with this because their car shouldn't become something they use. It's just to get from point A to point B. That's all I need it for. And it's a simplistic little little Jeep. And I like the little Jeeps, like a Jurassic Park looking Jeep. I like them.
It doesn't. It worked because it was a large Jeep that could hold all 5 and later 6 of them. And it looked really badass when like the door to the base opened, it like came tearing out. They turn around, they got like sirens rolling, they're running around. Like it was really cool.
It was.
And it got to cameo in Forever Red. All right. Best ally or supporting cast member?
I'm going to assume Jim's got the same one, or he's wrong on this.
Okay.
Mr. Collins from Time Force.
Ooh, that's a good one. I do not have that, so I guess I'm wrong.
Because his entire arc for the whole season of boo, I don't like my son, blue, I want to make money off these, and then eventually learns to be good, and the whole making up of his son, and even the look when basically Wes is giving his father that look through the helmet and stuff, it's dramatic as fuck. He's a great ally, and he's got an amazing arc. It's probably one of the best arcs of all of Power Rangers.
That is true, and you're absolutely right. And I really didn't give. I didn't think that far through it. I was thinking when I considered Mr. Collins, so I will give you that. That is a very good one. I give it to Miss Fairweather purely because I like the fact that they had a strong and intelligent female character that got to really help the Rangers. They got to show off that she was the brains and the reason that they had all the cool tech and stuff that they had. She was always giving them new stuff, trying things out. And she got to have a cool love story where she had this on-off thing with Joel, and they ended up together at the end. So I thought she was a really good side character.
Nice.
The best base or hangout?
Aquabase.
You're damn right it is.
That was just the coolest thing. It was a great base. That was a great base that made sense, was actually hidden,
It was.
Unlike some of the other bases, like as much as I love the MMPR one, the only reason it's hidden is because it's outside the town and they hope no one goes there.
Yeah, like it's
This was
kind
like
of in a desert, sort of, maybe.
yeah, but it's still in walking distance from town, as all the teenagers have done.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, okay. But this one's like underground, well, under the ocean, I should say, hence the name Aqua. But yeah, it's under the ocean, and you're gonna have to go out your way to find this, and it's highly secure. It's
It
just a
is.
great little base.
It is, although I will mention there is one major weakness to that kind of a base, and we saw it at the finale.
If you're on about the flooding,
Yeah,
I'd make the case. Look at the MMPR base.
that's
That
true.
was above the surface, and they just blow up. All the bases have something that can help them blow up.
That is true. They always is. But yeah, the Aqua base was just awesome. In all fairness, in that finale when I don't know that, but in that finale when that happened, that was really dramatic and cool.
Nice.
Moving on, best morpher.
Wild Force. I love the little flip phone. It looks cool and it's handy. And at the time, obviously now, because of technology evolving, it wouldn't be the same. But at the time, if you found a teenager and you look in their pockets and you're like, oh, we got a flip phone, not once you're going to assume they're a Power Ranger.
That's true.
But if you go in there and you see like a giant fucking thing with like Morpher written on it, it's like a risk device, you're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
you're a Power Ranger. Like some of the others, you just look more like morphers. This looked like it could be blended in, which was cool. The only downside is they didn't actually have a personal life, so the fact it was blended in meant nothing.
Yeah. That's enough. I give it to the Chronomorpher and Time Force only because I like that they worked a storyline into it of, oh, the morphers are actually DNA locked. So even if somebody randomly picked one up, looking at you,
Me?
Power Rangers in space morpher that a kid can pick up and unlock a battleizer on.
To be fair, he was wearing it. The kid didn't get the battleizer.
Fair.
That's the same as Wes was able to use it.
Well, yes, but he had identical DNA to his descendant, luckily enough. But I thought that was a cool storyline.
Yeah, well, the odds he must have been inbred for his whole time to have identical DNA.
Or close enough DNA, but that's why I thought it was a cool plot line of, oh, they happened to, they needed to unlock the morphers, and then they happened to find the Red Ranger's ancestor who has similar enough DNA that they're able to unlock it, and then it's tied to their DNA, so it's more unique to them. It's not, it's got that tie-in, and it's like futuristic type technology versus most of the morphers we had seen up to that point. Aside from Lightspeed, which they were starting to come into that whole morphers built by technology deal. So I just thought it was cool. I like the whole DNA aspect. I thought that was cool.
No, that was a cool aspect.
Yeah. All right. Best main villain.
I went with Chukina.
Really? I'm surprised.
Why? I've told you multiple times I love her.
I love Chukina too, but I thought you would have gone with Rancic.
No. He had some cool story, but Chukina had a massive, amazing arc where she went from sort of the sidekick lieutenant to the main villain in the series. A huge thing. And it was just cool. Rancic had some good moments. I don't hate Rancic, but I just liked Chukina. She was a much better character for me.
Well, I also gave it to Chukina because she's my favorite villain in all of Power Rangers. And again, for the same reason, she had the great arc. And not only in the arc of, going from the sidekick to the main villain, but also her arc in terms of her physical character. In the earlier part of the season, and I mentioned this yesterday in our Edge to the Worst, was they do this episode where she summons a monster purely to steal beauty from all the women on Terra Venture because she doesn't think she's beautiful enough, and she's all obsessed with her looks. To realizing that no, I want to be more than this, and finding Villamax and being trained as a warrior and improving herself, and eventually coming back to take over her father's evil empire. It was a great story arc.
It was, yeah. She was a great main villain. I liked her.
Yeah, Chukina's awesome. Cool. All right, best lieutenant or evil ranger.
I went with Nadira from Time Force.
Okay.
I really like her. She had a good little arc too. Admittedly, she got redeemed a little too fast because it was like one episode where it just suddenly happened.
Yeah.
However, she was really likable. At least for me, I liked her. She was sort of not as evil as Goldar and stuff like that. She was more selfish when she was evil.
Yeah.
And like she'd take the monsters to go shopping and stuff. She was just fun. I liked her. And she had the cool thing where her fingernails went and just grew.
Yeah, that was cool. It's an interesting attack. I also went Time Force, but I actually gave it to Frax because I liked his storyline of, he was once a human and he was a doctor and he invented this formula that could help mutants suffering from this unique disease that Rancic has. And that Rancic got all the medicine from him and then betrayed him and killed him. And he had to rebuild himself as a robot to save his own life, which is impressive enough. And then the fact that he's working for Rancic and Rancic doesn't even know. And also seeing the arc that he went through when he get to the end, and he's given up on all hope on mutants, and all mutants are just inherently evil because of what Rancic did to him. But then it's Nadira who changes his mind when she starts to realize all the evil shit her father's doing that's wrong. And Frax has that moment where he's locked into prison because they're about to brainwash him into being full robot Frax. And she tries to help him, and she's being dragged away, and she apologizes to him for what her father did, and that's when Frax and the Doctor, who's still got away, realizes, wow, maybe the mutants can change. So I was screaming at her like, Nadira, don't give up. Break the cycle of hate. You don't have to hate like your father. I was wrong. And I just love that cool redemptive arc where we learned that whole backstory about him and that big moment for him.
That was cool.
All right. I will give it. I do have a couple honorable mentions on this one real quick. First to Deviant from Lost Galaxy, because I liked how manipulative he was in using Scorpius and trying to steal his power and then killing him and blaming the Red Ranger on it, and then using Trakina to fight the Red Ranger to try to get to the cocoon and then forcibly merging with her against her will to gain power. The dude was evil and awesome. Also, Ginger X and Toxica just because I like them, Toxica more so. Moving on. We got the best foot soldiers.
I went with the Cyclobots from Time Force.
Cool.
I like them, and they're more memorable just because of the end bit where Wes is fighting them unmorphed without powers and stuff, and just explosion. It makes them more stand out, if that makes sense. Where most of the other ones just get their ass kicked. These had a giant, oh my god, they're swarming us type moment.
Yeah, like millions of them just. Nice. I give it to the Batlings from Lightspeed purely for the finale because, yeah, granted, Jinxer got them in there via the card. They overran an entire Ranger base, like destroyed the place, almost murdered a lot of people, and then took over and piloted 2 Megazords.
Mm-hmm.
That's foot soldiers. You don't see foot soldiers get that much very often. And that was, yeah. And I like the plot where Jinxer threw the card on the Megazord before it retreated and just waited until it was back in the base. It was like, okay, now you come out, Batlings, destroy them all. And it was like, wow, that's a really good plan. But yeah, the Batlings for almost taking out an entire Ranger team and group of people. Very cool. We have the best monster of the week.
I went with, I think they were called Striking. From Lightspeed.
Okay.
It's a dude who summons like lightning through spikes and stuff. It's just cool.
Cool. I like it. Mine might not count here because I couldn't remember. Because I went specifically on this. What did we say about Psycho Rangers? Didn't count?
No, because they're evil Rangers.
What's that?
No, because they're evil Rangers.
Okay.
And they had like a massive arc in the season before, therefore they're more than just a monster of the week.
Fair enough. Okay, because I was going to mention Psycho Pink specifically because of the arc with Kendricks, but fair enough.
But to be fair, wasn't she in 2 episodes then as well?
She was. The first one was the group with her, but then the second one was purely focused on her because the other ones all got destroyed.
Yeah, so she's more just a monster of the week.
All right, fair enough. Then I don't have a monster of the week then because I messed that up. So I apologize for that.
Fair enough.
That's my bad. All right, let's see here.
Gadget or communicator.
No, the next one is Zord.
Okay, I went with the Super Train Megazord from Lightspeed.
That's a cool Megazord.
I like trains. And yeah, that just looked cool, and it joins together, and it looks pretty awesome.
It's huge.
It is, which is normally a good thing.
Yeah, it's way bigger than a regular Megazord. That's pretty neat.
Size matters, despite what women tell you.
Exactly. I give it to the Red Lion Zord in Wild Force purely because it got the most attention of the Zords, and I liked that it had this connection with Cole, and it was able to actually talk to him and advise him, and they just had this bond together. And I know there was that cheesy moment that you hated in the finale where they summoned like a million Zords, but
I didn't hate that they summoned a million Zord. I just hated that they had them.
Or a zillion Zords, fair enough. But I just like that the Red Lion had that connection with him, and they were able to have this bond that it empowered them. And I just thought that was a really cool thing with the Zord, because yeah, we had living Zords with the Galactabeasts before, but they didn't really have quite a bond. They were just more like, okay, yeah, we know you're here. It was.
That's not true. The yellow one in Lost Galaxy was constantly talking to him. She was like a jungle chick. And she had a massive bond of hers. She had more than Cole did.
Fair enough.
She was always with him.
Fair enough. I didn't remember. I must not have remembered that. But I remember the Wild Force bond very clearly because it was always the central focus on the show of, oh, Red Lion says this, oh, Red Lion says that. And I thought that just the way him and Cole worked together was pretty cool. And plus the Red Lion looked really cool. I mean, it was gold mane, Red Lion. It looked really cool.
It looks cooler later.
That's true.
More than that in 4 or 5 videos.
Yeah, something like that. We'll get there. All right. The best gadget or communicator.
I went with the visual scanner from Time Force that helps them look for DNA, because that's actually really useful and served a massive purpose. Because obviously you can't just look at someone and go, "Oh, I know what that DNA is." You need to know what that DNA is, and it helps them with the unlocking of the morphers and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Nice. Mine was also from Time Force. I went with the little
the badge.
No, not the badge. No, I went with their little portable screen that could talk to the future, where you pull the little things up and then the screen forms and you can communicate with the future. I thought that was really cool. That number one, it's really portable because it's just 2 metal things that the screen just forms holographically, and it lets you talk. And it lets you talk to the future to get information and know what's going on, and you can open it anywhere. So that was really useful.
I did have an honorable mention there.
Okay.
As much as people hated him, I liked Circuit, but I didn't know if he'd count there or Ally.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that too. I wasn't sure. He's a little bit of both.
Yeah, but I liked him and his little bond with Trip when they went off on their little adventures and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. All right. The best weapon.
Even though we've seen pretty much this exact same weapon before, I went with the titanium laser. It's like Zack's weapon. It's an axe and a gun. Only the main form is a gun, and it turns into an axe for its secondary one, which means it's a cool dual weapon, but we've seen that dual weapon before. However, it's still really awesome, and I just loved the look of it and everything like that, so I went with that one.
That is a cool weapon. I agree with you. I went with the Quasar Sabers purely because I like the whole, they're like Excalibur deal that you mentioned earlier. And they can like collapse into their little holster, and then it comes full size again when they pull it back out. And it's the source of their power. It's got their little their Galactabeast animal on it conveniently. And the Quasar Sabers are just really cool. And I thought they were great that their power source was a sword and that they got to use it.
Nice.
That was neat. All right. So next we have the best mentor.
Captain Mitchell from Lightspeed.
I second that.
Like, out of all of them this time around, he's one of the only ones that did something. Arguably, the princess in Wild Force did too.
Yeah, Shayla did some stuff.
But Captain Mitchell had a bond. He had family on the team, so he was actually a father figure. And obviously that stems with all of the stuff. Like the enemy hated him and tried to turn his son against him. And the titanium one is his son, and he's got like the one on his team. It's one like everything went back to him and the Rangers, and it was just a great little thing that he had. He had a lot of depth to him.
He did, and the fact that even being only a human and early in his life a firefighter, as we learned, knowing that the demons were coming, he went out of his way to secure funding and to find people and build this entire Lightspeed empire to be prepared for a day that he knew would inevitably come when those demons were freed.
Yep.
I mean, it's one thing when an ancient wizard like Zordon knows it because they're the one that locked away the evil, but when it's just a normal human and they just happen to discover the evil, to go to that length, that's very impressive.
I'm going to make the case Zordon didn't know Rita was going to escape.
Well, he hoped she wouldn't, but he knew it was possible.
He knew it was possible, but literally the opening is, woo, 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 oh, Alpha, Rita's escaped. Not, the day we've been waiting for has happened. It was just, oh shit, this has happened. Quick, teenagers.
Yeah. Which is hilariously countermanded in the recent comics when there was a team in the 60s that had to stop them being freed before. But comics. Anyway.
Which is also bullshit because that didn't happen.
No. Anyway.
There's a reason that shit.
Fair. Moving on to the best Ranger.
I went with Ryan Mitchell. Now I'm going to make a case for his weakness. He suffers from what Power Rangers refer to as Tommyitis, i.e. disappearing for long periods of time, just to come back later and be badass. Which is fine. It worked for the Green Ranger, and it works for Ryan too, but because they didn't have enough footage of, obviously, the American-made Ranger. He has a cool suit. He has a sister on the main team. His father's a mentor. The fact he was evil and brainwashed by embraced by demons and then comes back to being good, it's a great little arc, and he's just a great guy. I liked Ryan. I really liked him. I don't know why.
It is. They even worked in an arc similar to Tommy where Tommy had to be careful morphing because his powers were being drained by the green candle, whereas Ryan had to be careful morphing because he had that evil cobra tattoo that was crawling toward his neck every time he morphed. It was going to kill him.
Actually, if you look close, that wasn't a cobra. That was a $sign, just to remind you they didn't have the funding for original footage.
Sure, why not? Alrighty. I gave mine to Jen Scotts of Time Force because I like that she was, for all intents and purposes, the first female leader of the Power Rangers, even though she wasn't the Red Ranger.
No, she wasn't. Alien.
That's true. Delphine. That's true. You're right.
I mean, I don't like the Alien Rangers. I mean, you can see our worst of that era, but she still counts.
Fair enough. Delphine, but we only saw her for a short time, whereas Jen was the first leader of a mainstream team that wasn't just covering for 10 episodes.
To be fair, she was only a leader for like 10 episodes, if that, when they instantly went, oh, let's go get the big, strong man in.
Well, they brought Wes in, but at the same time, Jen still had a very strong role to play because she was the leader of the Time Force representatives that were there, even though they did default to Wes quite a bit because he was the Red Ranger. Yeah. But I like that Jen, after overcoming the loss, or what she thought was the loss of her true love, Alex, being willing, being so dedicated to, getting Rantic that she led her team back in time and was dedicated to stopping Rantic and preserving the past, and it, gave her absolute all to stop him. And the fact that, of course, she led the team back again after they went back to the future, and they came back to the past to save. That was also because she was in love with Wes, but she still led them back again against unbearable odds of the potential destruction of the timeline to stop Rantic and save the day. And I mean, there's a reason Jen is, generally speaking, one of the most beloved Rangers. She's just a really good Ranger. Erin Cahill did a great job playing her, and I think she's just great.
Oh, yeah, she was great. All I mentioned was, like I said, she would have made my list, except for the part where, like, 5 episodes in, the team started ignoring her and going, oh, a man. What can the man do? And even she's like, oh, I'm in love with him. I have no personality now besides being his love interest because Power Rangers can't do women.
Fair.
And that just irritated me. So I'm like, you had something amazing. Why ruin it?
Yep. All right. So next up, we have the best team or lineup of a team.
Yep, which goes into what I was talking about there. I went with the Time Force ones because I liked all the characters. That one aspect I don't like about pushing the females aside, like Power Rangers always do, which means a lot of the fandom will support that because a lot of the fandom is sexist. But it's a case of, with Time Force itself, it was a great team. Like, I can't think of a single member of that team I didn't like. Even when they had Eric. I may not like his costume and weapon, but he was still I still liked him as a character and his rivalry with Wes. If that makes sense. Like, I liked Wes. I loved Trip. I really loved Trip. Something about Trip was just wonderful. I wanted to hug him. But yeah, you know what I mean? They're just a great team. Every member of the team was good. So yeah, I went with Time Force.
I agree. I also went with Time Force for many of the same reasons. A big part of it also is that those actors had such great chemistry. They were actually friends and are still friends to this day, and they hang out. And you could see that on screen. You could see how well they got along. And you could see that it was so easy for them to do this, and it really transformed. It made you feel like, to really feel the friendship between them and how much they cared. And it really made you enjoy that team. And each character had their, their little unique focuses too. They balanced it out pretty well. Jen had the plot line of the Alex versus Wes thing. Wes had the plot line of, oh, my father versus being a ranger. Trip had the plot line of just wanting to protect everybody and get back home, and also being the out of place alien of the team. Lucas had his plot line of, oh, I need to learn how to drive because I'm not what I was in the future. And
also, fun fact.
Yep.
Just because it's going to be 2 years before we get this again. Isn't this the first season, technically, with generic powers, or genetic powers, whatever you want to call them?
Yes,
like one had super strength, one had speed and stuff. That was just fun. They didn't use them as much as the Disney era to fight, but they used them to like pick up stuff to clean the clock tower, so they were super useful, I suppose.
Yeah, Katie's super strength more than anything. Strictly speaking, the first one was Andros in space and his very minor telekinesis, but he barely used it, so it doesn't even really count.
But I mean, I said the team had it.
Right, fair. Then yes, this is the first time where multiple team members had genetic powers.
Yeah.
So yeah, but either way, they all had fun little story arcs. I remember Katie had an arc about her family in the future and how she didn't know she'd get back to him and her sister and stuff. So they all had great story arcs and focuses. They all worked really well together, and you can even see the difference because when you watch Wild Force and you do the team up, you can see the beginners where when Time Force comes in, you had that feeling of friendship coming back in that you didn't have most of that season because the Wild Force cast didn't have that same connection. So yeah, Time Force, definitely.
To be fair, I'm going to say, the connection, I feel it's one of those things where I've mentioned with the fandom for now, where they've seen it at conventions and just ran with it. Because I couldn't tell they didn't get on. Like, the Blue and Black Rangers seemed way more friends than the entire Time Force team. Okay. When they were goofing off and doing their Beast Boy cyborg stuff. And Cole with the Yellow Ranger was great.
Okay. Of
course, my favorite from that is still Merrick.
Of course.
He was just cool. I don't know why. He was just great. Like when he was off doing his own little Wolverine thing, playing pool in a bar and stuff. He was great.
He was. That was great. And it was a bit funny because he was the only one that had a hangout in that season.
And they all had the island.
Yeah, they hung out on the Atomarium, but
which I argue would make some nerds because that's like hanging out with the teacher. Come on.
Exactly.
Even Tommy and Jason didn't go get drinks with Zordon.
Yeah. So moving along, the best episode.
I'm going to make the case. I know that some people have some problems with this episode. I don't care. Forever Red.
Okay.
We got to see all our favorite Red Rangers, and some besides Rocky. We got to see all our favorite Red Rangers besides Rocky back. Which that's a negative, is no Rocky.
Poor Rocky.
It was awesome seeing them all come back. Jason seemed awesome. As much as I didn't like him as Red originally, I liked him as Gold and stuff. He shows up on a motorbike, and I'm like, oh my god, that's cool. And he shakes Tommy's hand, and you got that cool moment. Tommy has his own Alpha for some reason, which is better than Alpha 6. He's an annoying little shit. This one's actually, which is arguably last season, we probably could have given that worst ally, but
yeah.
I stand by the ones I gave. They were slightly worse. But
I didn't even think of that. That's a good point. All right.
Because Alpha 7 talks exactly like Alpha 5. Like Tommy was like, no, I want an Alpha close to my original one. I get him, which is cool. You got Andros being cool, where he gets to like do the spy mission. Then they're on the surface of the moon. They're breathing for some reason, but let's forget that. And then they go to stop the Beetleborgs who have turned evil. Okay, no, they're the Machine Empire. But basically, which is cool, Serpentera comes back, which is awesome. Cole on his bike is a fucking awesome scene. A motorbike driving into a dragon and blowing it the fuck up. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's Cole, so we don't like it. But it was a great scene, and it's like, boom, and you're like, holy fuck, that's awesome. You drove a bike into a dragon. That's just awesome. And some of it didn't make sense, but it was still cool, and it did what it needed to. It put the focus on the new Ranger, and you had stuff like Jason and stuff saying, way to go, rookie. and they were actually using the older people to put the new guy over, which was kind of cool. Like at the end of the episode, I actually left feeling like, okay, Cole's not that bad. Then when I went to the next episode, I saw him act, and so it all went back downhill. But still, they did a good job of trying to get Cole over. It was cool. I liked Forever Red.
It worked. Fair enough. That was cool. It was a really hard decision for me because there were a number of good ones in this era. But I ended up making the decision to give it to Lost Galaxy Episode 31, The Power of Pink, which I referenced earlier. Because...
I'm actually surprised.
Why is that?
Based on how much you talk about that being one of your absolute favorite episodes ever, I thought you'd gone with Reinforcements from the Future.
That's my honorable mention. I was sorely tempted to go with it, but I just felt the sheer storyline they put into Power of Pink to work out this whole thing of, okay, we have to write Valerie Vernon out because unfortunately she has to get leukemia treatment, which she did, and she was okay, and she came back in the finale. And she's still does. She's coming to Morphicon in a week or so. But the fact they had to write her out so quickly that they worked in this amazing storyline by using the Pink Psycho Ranger to put over the Pink Ranger as being important, and actually had her sacrifice her life, which at the until the end of the season we didn't know she was coming back. But actually killing off a Ranger was a very drastic move, and I thought Valerie Vernon acted it very well as having these Space Rangers around for an extra episode, because originally Cassie was going to take over that role before they decided to go a different direction in the episode after this. And so I just thought it was a really dramatic moment where, she sacrificed her life to save Cassie's life because her life was being drained out of her morpher by the Savage Sword and the Pink Psycho Ranger. So I just thought that it was really well done. The way they wrote her out was incredibly dramatic. And the fact they were willing to just the oh my God of they killed off a Ranger, I just felt kind of put this on a certain level. It just was really good. I do give honorable mention to Reinforcements in the Future. I love that up. I think they really well in that episode. I like that they redeemed Rancic in that episode, and they had a whole thing where he made up for his mistake of giving the mutant orcs mutant DNA, and it healed his face and made him human, and he was able to turn good, and they had a picnic, and they played an upbeat version of the Deer song. It's and they pushed the Eric and Taylor relationship.
Yeah, it was.
And there's the joke where Max will try to hit on the Deer, and Lucas is like, Yeah,
it was good. Will admit my favorite part of that is Rancic as disapproving dad.
Yes, that's also really good.
That's the best part for me. But
yeah, but it's just a really good team up, and I think it works out really well with all the different things they got to do in that episode to put over both teams, and I think that it's just one of the best team ups they've done in the series history. Period. Reinforced in the Future is just really, really good. And it also works out as a good establishment for later on when they get to Forever Red, because Cole's like, oh, hey, Wes and Eric, I already know two of these guys. Okay. Alrighty, and that leads us to the final award, and that is the best season of the four.
Yep. Well, I will just say, though, him knowing two of them didn't make much of a difference. It was just like, oh, you guys, and I went off them.
True.
It wasn't as dramatic as, like, TJ knowing Tommy and Tommy knowing Jason, and the connection between those ones like that, and like TJ, like the Zordon Era ones, where they're like, we all know each other kind of with a chain, and I'm like, that's cool. But I went with Lightspeed.
Nice.
I like that season. It, unlike a lot of them, it's got a lot. It's got the part where the Rangers aren't just chosen because reasons. They actually go through and they sort of micromanage why they choose them based on skills in other fields. And you got like the government aspect, and you got the demon aspect, which was cool. You got the first American Ranger, which was cool. You got the whole mentor tied to everything, but also helps bring the team together, which is cool. And just everything about that season almost. I think I gave like one or two worsts to it, but not many. Like everything works in that season. It's just brilliant. It's a great underrated season, in my opinion.
That's fair enough. I agree. Lightspeed is an excellent season, and it is very underrated. I ended up giving it to Time Force purely because I felt that it had so many things that just made it work. Like I said, the team came together. They all had great arcs, and they were all enjoyable to watch together. There was great story arcs for so many characters. You mentioned Mr. Collins' story arc. They had story arcs for the villains. Rancic had his arc in Redemption. Frax's great arc I mentioned before. Nadira. They even worked in, they worked in the arc with Alex from the future. I mean, there was just so many great story arcs in that, and of course, the stakes of the future is at stake, and building everything up really dramatically, and just having that hanging over your head, and really bringing it home near the end, where there was just this full-on invasion, and just the sky ripping apart the timeline. Like it was just like there was just so much good about that. Like they took it to another level and said, okay, we're gonna actually put in a little more drama than normal here. We're gonna push the boundaries of what has been done in Power Rangers so far. And I think it really worked well for them and everything that they got to do in that season. And it just really puts Time Force as one of the best seasons in the series.
Cool.
All right. So, this has been the best of Post Zordon Era. Stay tuned because we have 2 more eras to go that will be coming up. That would be the Disney era and the modern era. So stay tuned for those. And hear out the rest of these awards. And a lot of other great videos coming up too. Mullins, Anastasia Laserbeam will be doing the PlayStation Plus games on Tuesday. And we have some other stuff coming up too.
Yep.
Mole, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
See you next time, everybody. Stay more phenomenal.